Welcome to another episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. I am your host, Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, and I almost forgot my name. How funny is that? I didn't actually forget my name, but my brain was like, what am I talking about? Totally different way to open the show today. I am excited for my special guest, as you can see her here. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ellen before I give her the opportunity to share more about her story with you. So, Ellen is an inspiration guide, an artist, and a mental health advocate who helps people reconnect with their potential and rediscover balance through creative expression and mindful living. She is the founder of Mindful Pieces by Ellen, a brand that blends intuitive art and intentional living to support emotional wellness. Known for her paint pouring artwork and calming creations like Neck Zen, Ellen's work invites others to slow down, breathe, and reconnect with what matters. She also leads classes and events focused on helping others get out of their own way and into more empowerment, joyful life. With a background in somatic practices and heart for healing, Ellen's mission is to spread positivity and purpose, one piece of art and one meaningful conversation at a time. She and her husband are currently working towards traveling the country in an RV to share their journey and inspire others through a YouTube channel. So, well, I can't really say without further ado because you already see her sitting right next to me. But that's the beautiful part about being in studio and having an actual live connection with somebody versus just being on a screen. Not that I don't have authentic connections, but I think it's just a whole different level when you're actually in studio.
It really is, and thank you for the welcome and for inviting me today. I'm really excited for this.
Yay! Well, as I told her before we went live, I forgot to wear my neck zen, and I should have. I did wear it when I was in Dallas a few weeks ago.
Nice.
So, and I got lots of compliments, and so I may have some connections for you. Anyway,
Well,
another whole story.
I've added a QR code on the back of all of them so that when people say, "Oh, where'd you get that?" all you have to do is scan.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
yes.
Like,
It's amazing the ideas that come in when I get bored.
Right? That is true. Well, tell the story. Well, tell the audience a little bit more about your story and why. I mean, really, mental health and breathing and the neck zen and all these things are so important to you.
It truly is. As far back as I can remember, I have struggled with mental health. I think it was about 13 the first time that I tried to take care of things myself, and luckily an angel stopped me.
Wow.
And there have been several times throughout my life where going through 2 divorces, raising teenage girls, now helping raise a teenage boy with my husband's ex-wife and trying to respect how she wants him raised compared to how I do things. And, all of these, the corporate job, the trying to do the best things for the kids, going and doing things because you want them to remember things, all of it combined like so many once the pandemic hit and the world shut down, so did I. My last day at work, I was on the phone with my therapist, wanting to crawl into the bushes, smoking my cigarette and crying, saying, I just want to die. And there wasn't a whole lot anybody could do. Everybody was scared. Everybody was in a space where they were going through something they've never gone through before. And I was fortunate enough to have my entire family around me and have support, but I found myself in bed more than out. And both my sister and I are very competitive with ourselves. So we thought the best way to fight what we were going through was to go on huge hikes. Like she did, I want to say 3 or 4 14ers.
Wow.
I did not do any 14ers, but I did go on a lot of hikes. When I was speaking with therapists, they would tell me, get up out of bed, walk to the mailbox, walk back in the house. You've at least gotten out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing that, and it started depressing me more than I already was, because it took the same energy to go and walk to the mailbox as it did to go on a 3 to 7 mile hike. I'd rather go on the hike, you know. But it was finally explained to me that I was doing more damage to my body by doing that rather than working my way up to it. So finding a space within me where I didn't judge myself for only going to the mailbox, but I would walk out back no problem to have a cigarette. So in, I want to say 2020, I quit drinking. In 2021, I quit smoking. And it's amazing the difference. You know, I would consistently have just a couple of drinks, take that edge off, be able to still function, that kind of thing.
Every day?
No.
Oh, okay.
For a long time, it was not every day. But the more pain I was in, the more the alcohol helped. And I found myself going from somebody who would only have 2 drinks to having far more than that. And it was time to stop. For me, it wasn't a struggle. Alcohol would burn my tongue. It would make me feel bad. I wasn't one of those people that could drink and drink and drink. I would have 3 drinks and then I would be throwing it up. So my body has always rejected it. Kind of a natural anti, could have been a lot worse. But the more I laid in bed, the more I thought about, I'm a solution person. I'm not a problem person. And laying in bed was not the solution I wanted. I wanted to be able to do things with my kids. I wanted to do things with my husband. I want to go and do hikes and all these things. And so I started really getting into some of the books that I had been listening to keep me going at my job. Every day I needed to remind myself, I am going through the stress of this job and the stress of my life and everything else so that I can have the life that I've envisioned for myself. And I built it. I got it. I have that life that I wanted more than anything. But it wasn't enough to keep me from waking up in the morning and saying, I just want to die. Every single day, I just want to die. I just want to die. Please let this be the day that I just die. I'm in so much pain. I'm over it. And I still wake up like that. I haven't moved past it. I haven't lost the pain that has kept me in bed for so long. I found a passion that is stronger than my pain. And part of that journey of finding everything that's in these books and putting together how I keep going forward is what was keeping me alive. And everybody had been hounding me for from the time I was in grade school, probably. You really need to get into art. You need to get into art. You should be an artist. You should be a therapist. You should. And I never had the energy or the money. It took every single bit of everything that was in me to be able to function for the day. And people didn't understand that. Unless you're going through it, we were just having that conversation. Unless you're going through it, you don't understand it. And I was able to realize that more than ever because I watched the people around me that had the same things as me. I watched what they did. I watched the strength that they had to carry on every single day. And so when I would talk to my sister, who also has chronic pain and everything else in it, I was very fortunate that she was able to, okay, my experience has been such and such and what, see if this helps, see if that helps. and I had somebody that could help me. I have met so many women and so many either that have reached out or they've been putting out on social media the things that are drowning them. And I've been able to reach out and I hope make a difference. Most of the time you don't hear back from the people, so you don't know if it was a good thing to say or not, or if it was stirring the pot, because so many times we get people who give us advice from their perspective in life and not your perspective, which leads to all kinds of trauma, all kinds of divorces, all kinds of family issues, whatever, whether it's between friends, family, feuds, whatever. The more that there's that one person in there stirring the pot and mixing things up, the more difficult life becomes. And when you get so wrapped up in all of that, you lose your perspective and what's important to you and why you're doing the things that you're doing. So that is what the art does for me, is I can take these paints and I can stack a painting and some jewelry and some glass and whatever and do my pour over it. And the paint is just letting everything just flow away. And then when I can take the jewelry and I can see a pattern within the paint and I can dip it in there, it's one of the most amazing feelings to be able to have something from, I started with dollar store paint. I wasn't doing anything fancy. It was $5 in paint, 5 different colors, and the dollar store canvas. It's not expensive to get started, but it was a way to shut down. And I can go forever.
I mean, so there's so many things popping up into my head, which normally happens anyways with guests, but thank you for sharing your journey first and foremost, but also that shift of, so you talk about chronic pain, so it's physical pain, and is that from an accident or what created that, or what do you know?
There's about a million reasons why it could be. It can be trauma. I get that a lot. It's trauma. Here's your antidepressants. Here's your, all those. And I go with doctor's discretion on all the things that I do. So please do that too. But there's all kinds of names that they can throw at it. All of the advice on how to move through it when nothing is showing up on any of the tests is yoga and meditation. It's the answer that has been given to me through everything. I was told that I didn't go to the chiropractors long enough or to the acupuncture, thank you, the acupuncture people long enough for it to make a difference. So I put myself through pure torture for 8 weeks and went to the chiropractor. What happens is everything in me, I call it pulsing. It starts pulsing. So when I go to an event like I did the other day, I drove there, I did the event, I drove back home. By the time I got home, my body was pulsing so bad that I had to lay in the bedroom for 2 hours until my body could calm down. Now, that used to take up to a week.
Wow.
It went down to 3 days. It went down to a few hours. So over the last 5 years, through immersing myself into this 100%, 110%, my husband and I have that joke. I can't even say it without doing that. But if I'm not aware of my body and I don't prepare it for what's coming up or allow myself the rest time to recover from something that just a few hours did, then I can't function. But when I go to the hospital, there's nothing. The tests don't show anything. Go back home. I have had more medical bills Well, I won't even get into the whole
trying to figure
if you're
that
there,
out.
you know.
Right. Yeah.
You know, my credit was destroyed until they decided that you can't put it on there. Well, now I don't have any credit because I couldn't get anything because of my medical bills. May have saved me from having massive credit card debt.
You know? Right? You're like, but then there's a stress that goes along with that. So yeah, it's
exactly.
like all these layers. And I would reflect even so my son had seizures when he was a year, well, he was like 16 months old and then a year and a half. Wait, so math is hard today, apparently. He was, let's see, 14-ish months old and then a year and a half. But what was found was nothing, right? So you don't just have seizures and then none of the blood work, the CAT scan, the MRIs, all the things, the ERG,
EGD, EKG,
EEG, which is your brain. Yeah. So doing all of those things, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and those aren't cheap tests.
No, not at all. So I feel you on the we can't find anything.
Yeah.
Here's some pills. Yeah. They wanted to put my son on Keppra, which actually made him violent because they just did the loading dose, barely, and he became violent. And they're like, oh, it'll go away after 2 weeks. And I'm like, you want me to take my son home for 2 weeks and have him be violent towards me? No, get that crap out of his body. So I understand the process, but I love that you talked about being able, you've tried all these things, right? And you've, chiropractic is not for everybody. No. Acupuncture is not for everybody, right? There are certain bodies that, I mean, yes, in holistic ways, but I think it also depends, right? Like where you're at in your life, how your body's receptive or not to it. And so I think that's part of the conversation is like, what works for one person may or may not work for you and vice versa. Right. And I know my guest actually last week we were talking about, so she had a severe traumatic brain injury from an accident, but she also talked about like doing acupuncture in the face. And I was like, but we were talking a lot about it's all subjective. And the unfortunate part is that we have all these tests, especially in the medical space, of like, oh, you have to fit in this category, or that category. But what I hear from you is, yes, I've tried all these things. The cool part is that I now have built some resources in myself to go from a week to shorter and shorter and shorter time frame. And I know that it's an everyday thing, which I think is really important that people talk about that.
Yeah. There's so many times because when you look at me, there's nothing wrong. You look fine. You go for walks. You're functioning. You see me for half an hour on camera. I was a figure skater. I can smile through anything. I was in customer service. I can sound like I'm just fine. While in my head, there are some very violent things happening. And to speak to what your son went through, I think it was about 2 years ago now, there was a medication that I did not want to go on. I told my doctor, I don't want to go on that medication. He told me if I don't do the things that I'm told to do, then I'm never going to get better. So fine, I took the medication. About 2 or 3 days later, I found myself in what I call my Zen den, where I do all of my art and all of my everything, holding a knife in one hand and my dog in the other. Not to cause any harm to, I want to make sure. Yeah. I love Carlos. He's the best dog in the entire world. But I was so convinced that my family and my friends and everybody was trying to kill me. That I was in there with a knife, crying, again, talking to the doctor, saying, I don't know what to do. So they took me by ambulance to the hospital, and I went on the 72-hour hold, which should be terrifying. It wasn't. I slept better there than I did at home. and it just really awakened something in me, because when we were doing the groups and the therapies and everything that goes along with being in the hospital, I was able to tap into a part of me that I had been tapping into for years. I was building the education for years without knowing what for. But then all of it came rushing forward when we were in those groups and they were showing us the things to understand self-regulation and things like that. It was the first time I had a name for it.
Wow.
I was raised by wonderful, wonderful parents. I'm not that typical background of, didn't have anything and was miserable. I had everything. I was taken on trips in other countries. I had a prom dress from Paris. It was, I had a very, very fortunate childhood. But with that was, they had me in therapy a lot. The therapist didn't know what to do with me. Well, through this journey, I figured out I hated school. I hated school from the beginning. I learned in second grade that if I didn't turn my homework in, I got sent out to the hall where I didn't have to feel the energy of other people around me.
Okay.
So I would do my homework. My parents would see me do my homework, but I wouldn't turn it in because then I would have to go out to the hall where it was peaceful and quiet.
Interesting.
So as I reflected and did all of the work, through going to the hospital, after that I did CBT, DBT therapy. And I want to say that was for either 6 or 8 weeks. And during that therapy, I went from crying every single day that I went on these appointments and barely able to drag myself, because you had to be present, you had to be on your computer, you had to be out of bed, no matter what. And some days I could do it. You could only miss, I think, 3. So there were days where I did have to call and say, my body is throbbing so bad, I can't do anything. But the more I went through the layers of things that were traumatic to me throughout my life and started to make peace with all of it, I did find I was getting out of bed more. I was capable. When I would feel a really bad day, I could take my neck Zen and sit and look at all of the different patterns and swirls and everything else. And I could feel the texture on the back to fill 2 of those 5 senses. And so I'm putting things together to have for those 5 senses. So you have your emergency pack and, okay, I feel, because if you have anxiety, when an attack is coming. You can feel it. Sometimes you push it aside and say, no, I don't have time to deal with you. But anxiety doesn't care.
No. It's like the new, why do I always not upside down, inside out? Inside Out.
I think so, yeah.
And the anxiety character, have you seen the
I
new one?
haven't.
Oh, the second one. Oh, you'll have to watch. We have to go to a quick sponsored break, but once we get back, we'll chat a little bit more, especially about the next end and just more about your story. So we'll be right back after this quick sponsor break.
Have you ever felt completely alone?
Like your life doesn't matter.
One person dies due to suicide every 40 seconds.
You are not alone. Call the National Suicide Lifeline at 988.
Hope and recovery is possible.
1 in 8 people globally live with a mental disorder.
That's why empowering minds saves lives.
We need your help.
With only $19 a month, you help us save lives through mental health and suicide prevention education.
Scan the QR code or go to makementalhealthmatter.org to sign up as a warrior for mental health today.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kimberly L. Wilson, also known as Dr. Burnout. You can catch me on Leadership Beyond Burnout on E360 TV on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Vitality Network, where we focus on emerging women leaders and women leaders.
But
And like that, we're back. The magic of TV. If you happen to be just joining the Make Mental Health Matters show, thank you so much for watching or listening. My guest, Ellen, and I are really chatting about her story, her journey through constant pain, but also understanding that even as a child, wonderful parents had a wonderful life, always got what she needed and what she wanted, and it wasn't that traumatic experience that you would envision. But one thing that you had mentioned is that there's still layers, right? There's still, and I talk about it in kind of a funny way about trauma, is that even a stub toe, right? Like the first time I ever stubbed my toe, it was so traumatic. And then my toe turned purple, and I was like, what is happening? The second, the third, the fourth, the fifth time, it was like, whatever, right? It's going to be really cool. It looks like Barney. It's fine. It's purple, right? So I talk about trauma in that way, is that something could be traumatic for somebody that maybe is not for somebody else.
yes.
And that's what we have to remember, is that everybody's experience is very different. Even if we have this wonderful childhood growing up, or we have everything that we need, or opposite side, we have the worst childhood ever, like sometimes those people grow up to be the healthiest people, right? You never know how it's going to impact anyone. But I love that you also talked about, is like, now you're peeling back these layers and you're being able to pinpoint these specific times of like, it's the energy thing almost. Like that's what I'm feeling from you, is like the amount of energy that's in the room, especially in elementary, it was just too much for you. And so being able to have to go into the hallway where it's very quiet and peaceful, that's what you did. And noticing that school was the thing, at least from the childhood portion. So something that you had to work through, and then ultimately doing CBT and DBT and noticing that like these are the things, right?
Yeah.
Also knowing that your parents like put you through therapy a good majority of your life, but you're probably like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to talk about.
Well, actually, I found out it was a way to get out of school again.
Fair enough.
So as long as I was just angry and frustrated and started throwing out problems here and there, then I could skip school. And oh, what time for the appointment? Oh, that's when I have social studies. I hate social. Yeah, I want to do my appointment during that time because it was always during school. So I, at a very early age, started learning how to manipulate certain schedules to get out of doing the things that I didn't want to do. Which now as an adult, as I look back, I'm going, damn, I was a genius, you know?
Like, how do I do that now?
I don't know how to structure time. Oh, I do if it means I get to relax. You know?
Right? Well, and we were having the conversation earlier about like giving yourself rest days and like actually making space for those, which I am horrible at. But yeah, no, it is. I think that, and this is what I love on the show, is we just have open conversations about what experiences people have gone through, because the important part is that it's not, again, everybody's experience is going to be different. Like you and I can be the same exact experience, and we'll take two very separate or different experiences out of it. And yours might be traumatic and mine not, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that you also mentioned like people have tried to give advice of like, this is what you should do. This is what you should take. This is how you're going to get better. And you're like, is it really? But they're looking at it from their lens and not your lens.
Exactly. That right there is huge, because going to the doctor, I always had that perception of doctors know everything. You go in, I mean, it's like on TV. You go in and they fix you. That's how this works. And I even remember saying that to a doctor one time. I'm like,
you're just going to fix me.
Why are you asking me what's going to fix me when you're the doctor? You know, and there's a lot of that thought process. But when When you stop giving the doctor full control of everything in you, you start finding your answers. They start falling into place. Because when I would go in with a preconceived notion, you're not going to be able to help me, well, then I sabotage it and they can't help me.
Yeah.
You know, my husband works in the medical field, and he put it very wonderfully to me one time. He said, "Hello, stranger who knows nothing about me. Fix me. Well, what's wrong with you? That's for you to figure out." How is anybody ever supposed to help anybody like that? And he was right. Don't tell him I said that. Don't let him watch this. But he is absolutely right, because the process of going through chronic pain and trying to figure out what's wrong with you, or get a diagnosis or a name, anything, just acknowledge that this is real, you know. But as you're going through that process, you get so sick of telling your story over and over again, and the same tests being ordered over and over again. Oh, and now I had to switch jobs and switch insurance, so now I have to start all over again. But now I have to stay at this job, and it is the most stressful job, and I don't know what to do. And now there's a major a major medical issue with somebody in my family, and I'm the one that's 100% doing it, but I don't know what I'm doing, and there's nobody helping me, and oh my God, what do I do? You collapse because you don't take care of yourself, because everything else has to be handled. And that's where I started learning I can't be in charge of everything. I can't do everything. I have to allow people to help me, which is very difficult. You know, I've been told from the time I was a toddler, I've said, I do it myself. You know, no, I do it. And I've always taken 3 times as long to do things as people, and people would comment on it. So I would fill out tests with just BS answers so that I could be the first one done, because I was going to be first at something. You know, these are all the things that we learn as a child, not necessarily because of our parents or our siblings or our classmates, or a combination of all of the above. Or, you know, I heard a thing today that was talking about how did people across all these different continents get raised the same way before computers or internet was even a thing. You know, let's get deep into all of these questions. How do we all have the same things? The same needs, the same wants, the same desires? Because we're human. We have a little bit level above the animals sometimes. You know, I've had some temper tantrums where I can say I was at an animal's level. You know? Yes. But I also recognize that in myself. And there are people that are still in my life that have had horrible things that they have gone through. And some of them I've been able to help, and some of them I haven't. I haven't had the capacity. I have never been through what you've been through. My gut instinct is to think this and this and this would be possible. But I also think that I could get a bunch of firewood together and build a house in my backyard. So, you know, where's the perspective on it, and where's the importance to you? And so that's where I say a passion stronger than the pain, because the pain's still there. It's really hard to get out of bed in the morning. It takes me 2 hours to get my body functioning in the morning. So when we want to leave early to do something, my husband knows that he's going to do everything for me. And let me put this out here to spouses of people with chronic pain, because what my husband does for me is beyond anything that he could ever buy or do. Or I mean, this man could do anything and I'd be okay with it because of the things that he has done for me. Wow. And this little things like, oh, I noticed that you're hurting and your water is left upstairs because I spend half my life looking for my water. And he'll refill it and he'll bring it down to me.
Oh.
Not because it's expected, not because I'm going to throw a hissy fit if this doesn't happen, but because he knows the physical pain that I'm in. To go up the stairs is impossible for me at that moment. In 20 minutes, I'll be able to do it again. But right now, I can't do it. And having that help from the people that you love and not taking it for granted when the people that you love do these things for you. Saying thank you. I appreciate you. I know that you're on your feet all day and doing a job that takes a physical toll on you, and you still get up and you do things for me because you know that I'm having a hell day. These are the things that you do for people that you love. You don't tell them that they're lazy. You don't tell them they're fat. You don't tell them that they're incapable of doing things, or they're stupid, or they're white trash, or these are all things that have been said to me, you know? And when I realized that this is something that I've actually been battling for longer than I even am aware of because of the work that I've done, when I look back at those people, and I am not guilt-free. I have done things to people too. So I want to make that perfectly clear. But when you realize what a difference you can make just by doing one little thing. You're at the grocery store. There's somebody short reaching for something on the top shelf that's reachable for people who are 5'3". I am 5'3", and I can't reach it.
Me too. I'm 5'3 and a half.
And that half is a big difference.
I'm like trying to climb up the,
Exactly. We
Like,
need
can
stools
somebody-
at the grocery store. Can we get some ladders? So when you go and you see somebody trying to get that, bag of chips that's way in the back, and you're tall, don't turn around and go the other direction.
Help
because
me.
you just come over and use your tallness.
Right.
I desperately need your height. These are the things that make a difference. And so whenever I would go grocery shopping with my kids, I would always do that. Somebody's in a little buggy. They look at the shelf. They see what they need. I know that standing up from that buggy to be able to get something hurts. That's a lot of pain happening right there. Don't judge the person because they were able to stand up from being in a scooter. Find out what they need and help them. Is this the one that works for you? It takes 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you hear stories all the time of what that 30 seconds, what that difference makes to somebody.
Yeah.
So if I can do one little thing, somebody at a play one time was crying. I walked over, I gave her a hug. No clue who she was, don't know why she was crying. May have been an evil person, I don't know. But maybe that hug made a difference to her. Maybe it made her feel seen.
Yeah.
I get that a lot from people. I keep going with the mouth sometimes, and then all of a sudden I will say something that changes somebody's world completely, and I have no idea that I even said anything. Those little things that people say to you that get under your skin and you're getting angry and all of that, you're taking it from your perspective. I had an amazing woman talk to me about perspective on a road trip to New Orleans. Oh my goodness, this was amazing. And she kept telling me I was going through my second divorce, and I was devastated. And I felt worthless, and I felt stupid, and I felt angry, and I felt all the negative things. And I went on this road trip with 4 women I barely knew to New Orleans for a convention, and it changed my life. And you 4 know who you are. They kept saying to me, it's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of perspective. This jackass that's driving slow in front of me is pissing me off, and now I'm angry and I've got road rage and blah, 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 blah. Well, what if you knew that that was a 90-year-old man who was driving to the hospital to say goodbye to his wife for the last time? Would you be as angry? Or would you let him go ahead and go at the speed that he needs to go, driving terrified in the traffic?
Mm.
You know, it's,
Mhm.
you go through those layers, you go through your traumas. The very first trauma we experience, I heard one time, is being born. It's pretty traumatic.
I think it's for the moms too.
Yeah. But it's
Right.
pretty traumatic.
Yeah. You're
The
like,
way that you learn to move forward in life
yeah.
are by the things that are supposed to break you, and they don't.
And on that note,
Yeah.
we're going to go to our last quick sponsored break. But once we get back, we'll chat a little bit more about that. We'll be right back after this break.
1,917 people die daily from suicide globally.
I lost my middle sister, Carrie, to a completed suicide on February 20th, 2017.
How does Kelli, host of the Make Mental Health Matter show, impact lives?
Number 1. Awareness.
My story, however, it isn't unique. I am a domestic violence survivor and a recovering addict. For 14 years, I was in active addiction, and because of Kelli and the work that she does and the opportunity to have my voice heard, I was able to stay clean and sober and have hit a year. I'm still here, and if it wasn't for Kelli answering my call the day that I thought I was going to take my life.
2. Conversation.
I'm curious, and I know that I've heard a lot in the BIPOC community. It is very hush-hush. It's like one of those things that you don't talk about. Like, you literally feel like it's not a conversation you can have. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
First, shout out to Kelli, because I'm glad that she asked the question. I researched you before I went on your show, and I saw how real and authentic you were. And I just appreciate the question, because it is different, and we have to have tough, courageous conversations. So yes, I always say I'm a triple diversity threat. I'm a Black woman with multiple disabilities. Now, I'm not really a threat, but to other people, I may be, because people fear the unknown and what they're uncomfortable with.
Number 3. Education.
Kelli's passionate commitment to mental health awareness is a beautiful thing. It's clear in her social media posts, it's clear in the resources that she puts together, in the activities that she provides, her collaboration with organizations, and the consistent way that she continues to deliver a message, encouraging people to understand that they can share openly and to break the stigma around mental health. Kelli's topics cover children and adults, talk about things that we can do as a community, things that we can do individually, and her website is packed with information and resources and all kinds of contacts that you can use to reach out, whether you're dealing with something yourself or you're looking to help somebody else who is struggling. I encourage you to check it out.
And like that, we're back again. Yay. If you just are joining the Make Mental Health Matter show, we appreciate you tuning in, whether it's watching or listening. My guest, Ellen, and I are talking really about her journey, how the conversation of chronic pain needs to be more of a conversation, and how really it affects different people in different ways. It all depends perspective. But you were talking about how you took this journey with these incredible women that really opened up the space of perspective. And I think that even it's all about like, well, and when we're so heavy in those emotions at that moment, that's all we can think, that's all we can feel. And it's like, your point doesn't matter, I don't care. And I always like to not only perspective, but forgiveness. Like, that's the other piece of, I think, perspective. It's like a perspective, acceptance, and then forgiveness. But the forgiveness is always for ourselves. It's not for anybody else, really. Like, yes, you could say, I forgive you, but if maybe you don't have that relationship with that person, say in a ex marriage, that you're like, I forgive you, I don't really forgive you, but I'm going to forgive you for myself, right? But the whole point of all of that, and what I'm saying, is that the perspective of how we're looking at it, the emotions that we're feeling in those moments, that's really like what guides us on our journey. But I'm even gonna step a little bit further for you. We have about 10-ish minutes, but a little less. But then it's like, I'm so hurt, frustrated. And then you moved into this amazing marriage that you have with a man who sees you and like authentically sees who you are and genuinely wants to help you in this space. And I'm bringing it even back to the, oh, I have to allow people to help me, which I know you know me. And I know, like, for me, I'm like, I want help, but I don't want help, but I do want help, but I don't want help. I can do it myself. I'm strong. I'm good. I'm a woman. And then I'm like, I can't do this myself.
Open this jar for me.
Like in the next breath, I'm like, I don't want to do this myself. I had all this help and now I don't have this help. Right. So I very much am that like person that I'm like, well, I'll get all my stuff. It's fine. Just don't touch my stuff. But then when I have those moments that we like, my husband does a lot because I like collect things downstairs and then he'll move it into the car. Right. But sometimes it's like, don't take all of it because then I forget things because I was going to put it in my purse, which you already put in the car. Anyways, but what I'm reflecting in my head right now is that I also need to appreciate that he does those things because there are those moments that I'm like, oh, shoot. And he's like, it's already in the back. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. So being able to receive what people are giving you, the help that they're giving you, and not always having to be the person. And I know mine's like way even more layered, but that goes back to just, you know, that childhood stuff of like, I can do this. I can do it, you know, the whole, and I'm a Leo. So there's all of that, right? Right. So I have all of these different layers, but then I need to even myself get better at receiving, which I have been working on for the last couple of years a lot, but also in relationships, like with my husband more specifically, but like being grateful for those things, which I am not ungrateful. I just also on that side tend to flip into my like, I can do it myself. I'm good. But what I hear from you and how you said it, which really got into my spatial awareness, is like your husband does all these things without you even having to ask him because he knows at that moment that you are in pain and that just this simple 30-second thing, running upstairs, grabbing water, filling it up, right? That is just helpful in itself to be able to do those things. So I love that you had talked about wanting to do everything yourself, but then learning that you needed to be able to allow and accept help. And then also shifting into that gratitude of, I really appreciate and knowing all the things that you've gone through in your past. You're not, where's nobody, I don't think anybody's perfect. We all get in those emotions and we have, it's like the whole pandemic, as we talked about, right? It's like everybody is in fear. They don't know what's going to happen. And people truly shut down. Not just you, but a lot of people. I mean, I had one friend that called me and she said, I'm either going to go to the grocery store every single day or myself. And I was like, I'm not going to do my homework or turn in my homework because I can go in the hallway, right? So we find, yes, that's a little bit of manipulation as a child, but you learn how to like be able to put yourself into these positions that are good for you. So that was a lot of information that I just wrapped into one. But I would love for you in this time that we have to talk a little bit more about, you started into it about your artwork and your neck set, which I got to wear mine and they're so cool. But they are really super cool. And it's just talk about it.
Well, yeah, it's blossomed since then. So like I said, I started out with the dollar store and I had been watching YouTube University, learning how to do the paint pouring. And then I met people who were doing the same art and was able to get tips and tricks from those people. And the more that I did it and the more that I saw the patterns and the more I saw it going through, I was like, oh, I can do so many things with this. So I started looking into the jewelry, and I started looking into there's masks, paper mache masks that I could buy, and I could do the pour over those. I could do the pour over jars that I use for my pens and for, vases for flowers and all these different things that when it's there, you can just lose yourself in it. And part of that was I had a really hard time setting up for meditation. And the very first time we have,
Oh, you're good.
the very first time that I truly got into a good meditation, I was sitting in my car during lunch during work. And I had it in my car, I had it loud. I moved my car to an empty parking lot so that nobody could bother me. And I'm in this, and it's a guided meditation. And I'm feeling wonderful. And the meditation ended. And I don't pay for my radio services, so they have commercials. Well, I was in this wonderful state of meditation, and the commercial that came on was sirens and babies crying and screaming. And so I, from this meditative, oh my God, I'm actually doing this state to, which is life.
Yeah. You're like,
yeah. So that's another thing I think of every time I meditate, and it gets me in a place where I have a little bit of humor before I start trying to calm myself down from whatever I'm upset about. But the necklaces, I can completely lose myself because there's so much different swirls, and so many different patterns, and so many different colors that for me, also ADHD is one of the many diagnoses that have been thrown at me. And this one makes a lot of sense to me. And apparently there's physical pain that happens with that I didn't know. Like, I'm learning so much. Back to my art, speaking of which.
You're good.
I started doing bracelets. I started doing necklaces, the neck zen, so that you can have it around your neck at all times. No matter where you are, if you're at the movie theater, at your grocery store, at the library, at the kids' birthday parties, you can just sit there and look at it. You can find a little space, and you can just lose yourself in the colors and kind of just block the world out for a minute. And you always have that meditation tool around your neck. The other thing I do is custom pieces. I have a piece like this. We hope it's in our tent from last time we went camping right now. But I have one. It was mentioned at the beginning that my husband and I want to start an RV channel. And I have one that has the RV and the name of the channel on it. So when I'm getting really stressed and why the hell am I doing this? And I feel frustrated and I can't move forward and blah, 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 blah. I can look at it and go, that's the end goal. That's the top of my mountain. A totally different time I can tell my mountain story. But this, that's the top of my mountain. So I can remind myself why I'm doing everything I'm doing. If it's kids, you can do custom and have that.
That's
or
what I
you
love
just do
about
the
it.
swirls.
Yeah, those are so cool. And I have the moon, so it spins.
Yeah.
So I was actually at a conference and I'm like sitting there playing with it. I was like, I should probably not. But I'm constant, like, that's my thing also, is I'm like constantly fidgeting or doing something like, yes. So ADHD diagnosis also makes a little bit of sense, but yes, that's another whole nother show. But I love that you make these. The first time you told me about them, I was like, what are you talking about? Then I saw them and I was like, oh my God, they're so cool. And level up, plus you can do the custom and all the things. So share with the audience if they want to follow your journey and or order their own jewelry pieces, where can they do that?
The best place right now is going to be Facebook. You can either find me personally, Ellen Begaii, Begaii with 2 eyes.
Just spell it for the people that are listening.
Yes, Begaii. And then there is also a link in there, or if you want to go straight to and search for Mindful Pieces by Ellen, I do have a Facebook page for that. And I'm putting together so much more and looking for people that can help me put together so much more.
Nice. No, in the middle of a little change. So, but definitely make sure you go check it out. One of the other cool parts is Ellen is actually one of our volunteers for Make Mental Health Matter. She's been a huge asset to helping us with so many things that we're doing right now. We're in the process of making a journal, which I'm super excited when that launches. But Inspiration Attack, which is one of the outskirts of your business, that is helping put together the journals. And again, it's like we just share, and the creativity that pours out of you is just incredible. I knew it from the first time we talked, and I was like, we had to put all the pieces together, and I think it's all coming together, and it's just really cool that we're able to work together on that way. You would never know by the way you show up with your personality. I understand there's a mask that we all wear all the time, right? But I truly think that when you do the things that fill your soul, it is such a different way to start your day, to start your life, right? Like it transfers into what you're doing. So I definitely love what you're doing with the neck zen, all the jewelry, and it's just a creative way and explaining that you can get lost in it. Like I am not very good at meditating either, so I feel you there. But either way, you go check out Ellen's pieces of work. There, it will be in the comments, so you can get all the links. And whatever you do, make sure you come back next week. I go live every single Monday at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. on Dream Vision 7 Radio, or you can watch on E360 TV at 5 p.m. and that's on Mountain Denver time. No matter what, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.